is still married.
You are.
It was about to be over, and then unfortunately he had been detained. So
in the first episode, you talk about you would go to the airport and you would always get pulled to the side. And you got to the point you was like, why the hell do we keep getting pulled to the side?
Right.
Did you call ICE on Simon?
No, it doesn't benefit me at all for him to be locked up.
Hi guys, and welcome to my channel once again at Lola's Superstar World. The lady of the hour is, our girl, sister, Porsha Williams. Well, we've got to get into it, and it's really bizarre. Like for the last time I did a video about Porsha was over a year ago, and in the last few months she's been reigning. I mean, she's always been reigning. She's been the golden girl of the Real Housewives of Atlanta for such a long time. And I think her getting together with Simon almost 3 years ago, that shocked me. When I was first hearing the news, I was actually in labor. I couldn't believe it. I wasn't sure if it was if it was the painkillers kicking in. I was like, what is going on? But anyway, I'm definitely deflecting. But yeah, our sister girl, Porsha Williams, a lot has gone on since she's married her husband, her African prince. Her African prince was actually married to somebody else, one of her co-stars on the show, may I add. But yeah, a lot has happened since she's been married, since she's split from her husband, and yeah, they're currently going through the divorce. And since then, I mean, I'm sure most people have heard about it already. At the moment, right about now, her husband, Mr. Simon Gabardia, is currently detained. He was snatched up by ICE. Unfortunately, he's detained, and being processed to go back to Nigeria. But for many people, this was not anything new in the sense that it has already come out a while ago. It came out almost a year ago that he's been in this country illegally. He's been in this country multiple times by multiple different names. He's been doing fraud. And yeah, as a result of that, the United States of America wants him out. With the old party and government, it didn't quite happen. He was still here. He was still flossing in Nigeria, flossing in Dubai, flossing that he's back in America. But now in this new Trump era that is going on now, yeah, they snatched him up, got him processed, as well as so many other people in America. And I'm not saying that to celebrate what has happened to him. I'm definitely not saying that. He's definitely there for a reason. But what I can say as a lesson, when you do a lot of crime, or when you are fraudulent and you cheat, these things do catch up with you. God doesn't like it. He's not all about cheating. Jesus did say, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and give unto God what is God. So as a Christian, as fellow Christian disciples, living in this world, we're meant to do right. We are meant to be law-abiding citizens to the best of our knowledge and our capability. And if you do wrong, don't flaunt it in the face of authority. In heaven there's an order of authority. Don't flaunt it in the face of authority. Try to do right. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about having integrity. It's all about reflecting and looking at your mistakes and trying to correct it. Everybody makes mistakes, but if you're correcting yourself and you're trying to do better, there's a difference, as opposed to continuously doing the same thing over and over again. I'm talking about Simon again. And in this unfortunate situation, yes, he's now detained. And since he's been detained, people have been talking. They've been talking about our girl Porsha. They've been talking, and a lot of people have been saying that maybe she's part of the reason why he's been detained. Maybe she's gone to ICE, to get him set up. As such, people have been saying that. I mean, whoa, these social media streets, they are doing the most. I say they are doing the most. I also say allegedly, and I would also say it's a speculation as well. Some people are saying that, but even Porsha herself has come out to say she was not a part of that. She has no need to do that. I think she just wants out of her marriage. I think she saw the marriage for what it was. And I'll have to ask Porsha Williams, what was it? He was a married man when you met him. He was married to a girl who was on the show with you. So I don't understand, in what part of your mind did you think this was going to be okay? And this is for so many women out there. I get it. Like, this is her second marriage and she's going through another second divorce. And it's like, I get it. When you love and you want love and you feel like you've been cheated the first time round, is it right? Is it right to snatch, to convert, to take what is somebody else's? It's not right. It's theft. It's not right. It's adultery, according to the Bible. It's not right. Do not look unto to what is somebody else's. Get your own. And this is why we are encouraged as people, as women, to have a relationship with God, to soak into God. You don't need a man to fulfill you. God can fulfill you, and whatever you want, bring it in line with the scriptures, bring it in line with the word of God, and God will direct you to where you need to be. Equally, he will direct you to where you need to be, or he will direct you to a point. Do you know what, Porsha, or do you know what, to anybody else out there, maybe this is a time for a break. Maybe this is a time for reflection. Maybe you don't need to be with anyone for the next few years. Maybe this is a time to dig into God, to be about your purpose, to be about building his kingdom, to be about using your platform for good. You don't always need a man, whether it's for a trophy, whether it's to be kept because you're feeling lonely, or maybe it's because you're seeing the love and the greatness in somebody else's relationship. And I get it. When your relationship is not where you want it to be, it's tarnished, there's breaks, you are going through the tears, it's under attack. I get it. And then you're seeing what somebody else has, or you're seeing what appears to look amazing. I get it. Who doesn't want that? We all grew up as young little girls watching Disney, watching so many romantic fairy tales, and every time we watched these programs, it was always happy ever after, until we grew up and we had life. We literally had life, and you're like, where's the happy ever after? Not saying there's not a happy ever after, but there's ups and turns, there's seasons, there's ups and turns, and there is definitely happy ever afters as well. It just depends on where you are in your cycle, in your season, so I get it. But then, going after somebody else's husband, or maybe just entertaining that presence of somebody else's husband is not right. Yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you're stunner. Yes, you're a baddie, but come on now. And this is where a lot of people began to kind of look at Porsha sideways. Some people doing it a lot longer, but definitely when that husband snatching situation occurred, it was like, ooh, it's like, baby girl, what is going on? You're too pretty to do this. And I'm not saying that to say only ugly girls cheat, or who is ugly, beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. I'm just saying, as maybe the way so many people perceive her as a pretty girl, a beautiful girl that can get a lot of different guys or attention, you just presume that her inside is as well packaged as what she appears outside. But definitely when she got with Simon, it definitely revealed to me, if not to a lot of people, that there's a lot inside that ain't, there's a lot of healing, a lot of things inside that needs to be done. And obviously I'm saying that with the utmost respect. I'm not trying to be judgmental or trying to be mean, but it showed to me that there's a lot of work that definitely needed to be done. Because how was she okay with this? How was she okay with this at all? He was a husband to a whole another girl. He was Phelan's husband. Fair enough, she was just a guest on the show, but he was still married to somebody else. It's not right. Just because you're more popular, just because you've got more audience, just because you've got more pull, maybe in the, the television network, it doesn't mean that you can treat people like that. Not at all. But yo, what can I say? And, as I'm looking at this case of Porsha Williams and Simon and what is happening to them, it definitely feels like, when you build a foundation or build a relationship on a bad foundation, God always talks about the foundation. You need to build on a solid foundation, because a fire can come through, the wind, so many things can happen in life, and you want to be rooted. If you're rooted in God, if your foundation is right, I say a couple that prays together, stays together, a couple that goes to church together, they're more intact to weather the storm, as opposed to when you're building your foundation on just, it's messy. There's too much conniving, too much deception, so many things going on. And then you end up in a case like this where you've publicly announced to the world that you're going to be with this guy who everybody knows he was married to somebody else, making you look bad, making you to miss how many seasons of your show that everybody knows you are because of this mess that you got yourself in, only for a few years later to now be divorced. It's messy. It's absolutely messy. And obviously I'm not trying to shame you. I'm just trying to say sometimes it's best to be still and listen to God. You have to be still enough to allow God to listen. And I'm not just saying this to Porsha Williams. I think this can apply to so many people, even apply to myself. Sometimes we just have to be still and let the Holy Spirit talk to us and direct us, especially as women with children, because you don't want to be one of those silly women laden with sin and then held captive. You know, I'll say that again. You don't want to be a silly woman laden with sin and then held captive. We as women, we are the weaker vessel. Not saying we're mentally weaker, but we are designed physically weaker. And you don't want to be held captive based on your sin. You really, really don't. Don't let the devil in. So you don't always need to get over one man by jumping on the other. In fact, the Bible talks about celibacy. We shouldn't be fornicating. We shouldn't be committing adultery. We shouldn't be self-pleasing ourselves. We're meant to have self-control. Self-control. And the act of intimacy is only sanctioned by God in a marriage between a man and a woman to the glory of God.
You're basically encouraging women to follow your path, sacrifice their kids, to play the main character, maybe have a career if they're lucky, yet still end up miserable.
You are leaving a marriage. First of all, I applaud you for making a decision for you and doing what's right for you. It's hard to pick yourself when you become one with somebody because you're one. And then all of a sudden when things are bad, you have to just choose you. Yeah.